right, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Forgotten Firsts. Now, it's been a while since I've done one of these videos because I've been using this Thursday slot to kind of try out some other videos, including some of the other Forgottens that I've decided to add to the lineup of shows that we have here on Rennavision. So hopefully you guys have missed this. I'm going to try something a little bit different, even for Forgotten First this week, because of just an idea that just got planted in my head. But hopefully you're enjoying this series and still want to see more of them. If you are, please let me know in the comments. And if you like the videos, please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss any of the content as it's dropping. Still try to make sure at least one thing a day is going up on Rennavision, and hopefully you're enjoying that. So just hang on for a few seconds for the intro, and I'll be right back with this week's books. Okay, so as I noted in the opening there, this week I'm going to do something just a tiny bit different. It's just based on a conversation I was having, one of our chats, where Andy Tomberlin was asking a question about first appearance of a character, and it turned out to be a book that already had a major first appearance in it, so I decided to kind of cover that. It seemed like a fun idea. Like, there are some first appearances out there that kind of get ignored because they share a first appearance with a much, much larger, more important key figure. So I just figured, let's take a look at those forgotten about little characters, those other first appearances that show up in some of these bigger books that you're already probably aware of, but not for the reasons that I'm going to be talking about today. Again, hopefully you're liking the series of Forgotten First. I'm trying to do a lot of different stuff here on the channel as we move forward. Hopefully you're enjoying the new stuff. As I noted, I haven't done Forgotten First in a while because I've tried out Forgotten variants and Forgotten reprints, where I'm looking at those later printings and just some of those variant runs that a lot of people aren't talking about or aware of these days. I like Forgotten. I like looking for this stuff that nobody else is looking at because it's just kind of fun. It makes it easier and cheaper to hunt when you're digging in those boxes and those back issue bins to find things that not everybody else is chasing off current speculation or some hot 10 list and things like that. You're not usually fighting a huge market for these, so that's why I kind of like covering them. It's more fun to kind of play and dig. So that being said, the first book we're going to cover is the one I've got sitting here right next to me, because it turned out that the character that Andy was asking about ended up being in this Ultimate Fallout 4, which you obviously know Ultimate Fallout 4 for Miles Morales. Like, yes, I get it. Everybody knows this book, and it's super duper expensive already, but it's also kind of the first appearance of the Maker. We're going to have to go through a little bit to kind of clarify, but that's one of the options. The Maker kind of shows who we imagine the Maker as being in this issue, like with the helmet look, Reed Richards, bad guy. It's really kind of here that you kind of first see it, not discounting the fact that the character itself first appeared in Ultimate Fantastic Four 1. Like, that's the character, not in that form, but that's the character. Get that. I also get that there's some other lead-in books that you might want to be looking for too, that kind of play with the story and develop the story, because it wasn't like a quick turn for Reed Richards to go bad. Like, it was a slower build, so there's a lot of different key moments throughout the run and the Ultimate books that you can kind of point to for the Maker. But some online sources, if you go look them up, point to this book being the first appearance of the Maker. So that's why we're looking at it here today. Now, the Maker, again, great bad guy. It was a fantastic idea, I think, and a surprise to turn Ultimate Reed Richards into a very credible threat as far as a villain goes. Like, it makes you think, like, what if some of these good characters go bad? I know we've seen that kind of story done before, but to actually do it and kind of hold as long as they have in keeping this character around is is pretty cool and impressive. An impressive feat, really. Now, like I said, in this book, we can see that this is kind of the Maker that we're getting. We see, Reed Richards, he's hatching his plots, and there he is, as we would come to think of as, the Maker. Before this, I mean, he still was just kind of Reed, right? A little bit of Reed Richards. Now, a couple of months later, another option you can look at, and you can find this one in the dollar bins if you're looking for cheap kind of options, but I think it came out a couple months later, was the Ultimate Comics, the Ultimates 1, where you also get the Maker as he's kind of more redefining his look. You can see his helmet thing is getting a little bit more pointed and more as we've come to know it a little bit more. But again, the character's developing, the character's growing. And I know my buddy Topher likes to look at Ultimate Ultimatum Fantastic Four Requiem as being the moment that the maker kind of begins, because this is the issue where Sue basically rejects him, gives him the ring back, and you can see in that final panel there, he's that's the morose, just destroyed, I guess, Reed Richards that leads him to become the more villainous, maker. But all those books are kind of fun to look at, but I still thought it was kind of cool that the maker also first appeared with Miles in this book. So we're not going to go through all the available and all the sales, because that's not what we're about with this. This is already a very expensive book. Just to give you a sense of that, I can show you some of the copies that are out there. This is just a random sampling. You can see $750 raw, $800 9.4, $800 raw as well. Like, this is a pricey book, and I'm just happy to have my copy, even though it's just a 9.0. But it's mine, so I'm happy I just have one. So, again, this was the book that kind of got this idea kind of spinning in my head, and I started thinking, what other books are like that? And it turns out there are a lot more than you might expect, where there are first appearances that might have garnered a little bit of interest on their own, had they not been severely overshadowed by a much bigger character. And sticking in the Spideyverse for this, we're going to look at Edge of Spider-Verse 2. Yes, we all know, first Spider-Gwen, Gwen Stacy is Spider-Man, but did you also know it's the first Spider UK? Poor Spider UK gets overshadowed because of Gwen Stacy. So you can't buy his first appearance without having to shell out a ton of bucks, for Gwen Stacy as a, Spider-Woman, basically. But Spidey UK is a fun character. I know a lot of people expect to see him in one of these Into the Spider-Verse movies coming up with Miles, but who knows? And it's only a last page, little one panel there at the end. But it's still, there he is. That's him. His first appearance. I mean, you can do the Hulk 180, the Taskmaster, all those first appearances where it's just the last page cameo. It doesn't really count. Whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter to me. He first appeared here. So, unfortunately, Spider UK is overshadowed by, Miss Gwen Stacy by a lot. So it's just kind of fun, to look at these other first appearances that you might not be thinking about, or you might not know, because, again, they're severely overshadowed by a much, much bigger character. That being said, I'm not going to give you all the breakdown of sales, but if you just want a random sampling to give you a sense of this book, this is still $350, $550 raw for this Edge of Spider-Verse. And this is just the regular cover. We're not even going to get into the Greg Lands. We're not going to get all the multiple later printings. Just as the first print, number one, you can see $350, like $550. It's a pricey book in its own right. Now, another character that's kind of come up as a potential, villain, maybe we might see her in a future Disney Plus show, like Riri, when she has her own show, and maybe Armor Wars. This character of Tomo, who could be a good villain, and if you wanted her first, she shares it with Riri, so it makes her first tough. Like, you're not going to go buying Invincible Iron Man 7 because you want first Tomo. You're buying it because it is, first Riri Williams. So again, it's just one of those things where the character just gets overshadowed. In this case, it's the villain getting overshadowed by the hero. But here we've got, you can see in the storyline, she's got Rhodey all trussed up and, controlling the metal and whatnot as a good villain. It's just something we could see. I could see her being adapted in Disney Plus, but again, this first, it's all about Riri. So it is what it is. No, this book is just not going to be known for being first Tomo. It's always going to be known for being first Riri at this point. I just can't see that ever changing. But again, pricey book, so we're not going to get into everything. But if you're kind of curious, $150, $180 you can get raw copies for, and then graded copies, of course, obviously get more and more expensive. There's also that Mary Jane cover if you're looking for the other variant, and a couple of printings. There's a second and third print for this book as well. But again, it's going to be Riri. It's not going to be Tomo. And I got one more because again, in that same chat, kind of threw out this idea. We're kind of talking about it for a little bit, and then Jack K, who writes for CBSI, comicbookinvest.com. He does the locks and long shots. I like the new series, New Blood, over on the site. And again, Jack K, not Jack K from 227 or the Ladybugs movie, but he threw this one out there, and I was like, yeah, that's a good point. This is another interesting overshadow. Now, we can argue all of the Kamala Khan firsts all day with the second prints and Captain Marvels and whatnot, but a lot of people point to this as being first full, this all new Marvel Now .1. So hard to look these books up because the all new Marvel Now .1 and all Marvel now all new, different, all that stuff, they're so hard to figure out, these .1 books. But you know it by cover. There's also a second print of this one. It is, I guess, sought after because of first Kamala Khan, full Kamala Khan, I guess. And that is in here, but you also might not know that first Dawn Greenwood is in here as well. She is the sidekick to Silver Surfer in that Silver Surfer run with that's kind of become kind of popular. And I hope we get Silver Surfer at some point, and maybe they do something including her to kind of humanize, and because Silver Surfer could be a little bit stiff on screen, just a little bland on his own. He'll need other characters kind of play off to keep things interesting. As much as I love Silver Surfer and I love those cosmic adventures from when I was younger, back in the the 90s and whatnot. But her first appearance is also shared with Kamala Khan in this Marvel .1 book. And again, interesting character. We definitely could see her, popping up in a movie / show, but I don't think it's ever going to be known for that. It's going to be Kamala, right? It's just never going to overtake that from her, despite, them having the little bit of a story inside this book. It's almost like a tease for the upcoming, first issue, the all new Silver Surfer stories. And yeah, definitely fun first appearance, but it's never going to be known for that, unfortunately. And again, just to give you a rough idea of how much copies are out there, if you were looking, this book can $300-400 raw is crazy. I still remember seeing these books for super cheap and just quick flipping them, like, oh, you can find it for $1 or a couple of bucks, and then you could quickly get like 20 or 30, and you were happy. Come on, 29 watchers watching that $300 buy it now. It's crazy. It's crazy, some of the prices these days. But thought that was a fun topic, which is why I wanted to cover it. I had a whole nother set of firsts that I was going to do to bring Forgotten First back. Some of the stuff that I actually picked up, out in my hunts and shopping. I'm like, oh, these are some good books to do for Forgotten First. So I actually had to bump that list of characters to next week because I really got excited by this concept and this idea. So I decided I wanted to do this week. So I still have another Forgotten First coming on the way. I'm going to mix in the Forgotten reprints and Forgotten variants in another day. I might mix it in on Saturday, since there's nothing set for Saturday right now until we start doing the Star Wars stuff again with Ben and Mike, and or just me and Ben doing the first appearance spotlights.
They're coming.
They're coming.
They're coming back.
They're coming back.
You closed it. The boys are back in town.
When will then be now? Soon.
That said, still a lot of stuff coming up, a lot of stuff coming back in the coming weeks. Hopefully you're looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to getting back to some of this stuff. And thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this and still enjoy the content coming out here on Rennavision. If so, tell your friends. Let's keep that subscriber count growing. I can start thinking about doing giveaways again as we start hitting new watermarks and milestones as we keep this thing growing, going forward. So again, thanks for checking in. I'll see you guys soon.